Welcome to Underworld UK, where Britain's darkest stories are brought to light. From the gritty streets of gangland London, Liverpool, Manchester and Birmingham, from Curtis Warren to the Cray twins to county lines and modern day true crime, we cover everything. Bringing you new videos every week. Subscribe so that you'll be notified when the next video is put out.
So how did the story about you come to fight Charlie Bronson when he was coming out the jail?
Gets a letter off Charlie fuming. Is that your fucking game? Disrespecting people. I thought, oh, you're talking now, yo. So I wrote my letter back. I said, oh, the fuck do you think you're talking now, yo? I'm not at your beck and call. It was nice to be asked, but, you know, I'll do my own thing. I'm my own man. And who the fuck do you think you are? I says, you've never fought. Nobody. Bums. That's how I put it on. I says, you've never fought bums. You never fought anyone who could fight. You never fought anyone with the calibre of I've fought. I've fought at much higher level than what you fought. You've just knocked idiots out. I says, you wouldn't last around with me, mate, so just, you know, putting that type of thing.
A well-respected ex-boxer with a reputation that precedes him, Richie can be one of the nicest guys you'll meet, or your worst enemy, however you want to play it. His sledgehammer right hand has stopped many a wannabe bully in his tracks. In the northeast, you have to be tough to survive, and they don't come much tougher than this guy. This is his story. My granddad, who died in 1973, was an excellent amateur boxer back in the 30s and 40s. His ring name was Kid Morris. He held the decision over Teddy Gardner, British and European flyweight champion, 3 times. My granddad was a chimney sweep. Even today, when I look back, I imagine him covered from head to toe in soot. You'd swear he worked down the pits. I was born in 1964 at Cameron's Hospital in Hartlepool, which was knocked down about 10 years ago. It's now a private housing estate. Me mother was a housewife and me dad a roamer. He travelled all over the place working. He tried his hand at any job, from pipe layer to working on the docks. I remember him telling me that on one of the jobs he had to sleep in the barn with the Shire horses at night. In his younger days, he could have a tear-up if he wanted to. He became known as Blood Horsley because of his fighting. He got kidney damage in the army and was medically discharged. In later years, he had kidney failure and died before a kidney could be found for him. It was the worst day of my life. Me cousin plays in the rock band Iron Maiden. His name's Janek Gers. We called him Janek because his father was Polish. His mother was a Horsley before she married. Me cousin's a tidy guy. He once told me that he thought the world of me dog. People from Hartlepool are sometimes called monkey hangers. The name dates back to the Napoleonic Wars. Story has it that a French galleon was shipwrecked off the coast of Hartlepool. The sole survivor was a small monkey that clung to some wreckage that drifted ashore. The monkey was dressed in a miniature French uniform, and the local crofters that lived in Hartlepool were illiterate and thought the babbling monkey was a French spy. They must have got confused with the term powder monkeys, who are small boys whose job it was to supply gunpowder to the French gunners. The crofters conducted a speedy trial on the beach and found the poor monkey guilty of being a French spy. The monkey was sentenced to death and promptly hanged, poor bastard. So there you have it. I, like everyone else in Hartlepool, am a monkey hanger. I was always big as a young lad, so when it came to fighting, it was always me who got stuck into it. I was never a bully and never got bullied as a kid. Whenever it came on top, I'd think, fuck it, and bang, I'd hit the fucker and the rest would stay clear. I got into boxing as a 13-year-old kid. If I wasn't in the gym, then I was out having a laugh with me mates. About this time, I got me first court appearance along with 4 of me mates. Someone had suggested going potato picking to earn some extra money. We walk 6 miles and get to the farmer's field, and there's nobody there. Where are all the tatty pickers? Not a tatty picker in sight, just this great big haystack. Well, we were only kids, and this haystack looked like one of them bouncy castles that you get at fairgrounds. The guys at the bottom of the haystack were met with bales of hay dropped on their heads. We had great fun wrecking this haystack for about an hour. All of a sudden, farmers and farmhands surrounded us. We made a run for it, but got caught. We got taken to the local police station and got bail. No pun intended. We came back the next week to see if we had to go to court. Just our fucking luck. The farmer was a local magistrate and wouldn't settle out of court. They'd done us for criminal damage. When they called out our middle names in court, we all laughed like idiots, and the magistrate gave us a roasting. We had to pay £600 compensation and got a conditional discharge for a year. I was going to boxing on and off for a couple of years before I started fighting. I had 12 fights as a light heavyweight and boxed some good fighters. I boxed Crawford Ashley in only my 6th fight. He was British champion at the time and had over 40 fights. Well, he stopped me. He was a big puncher and hit me with some of the hardest punches I've ever been hit with. He was a knockout specialist. I remember he caught me with a big right hand straight to the throat. I couldn't swallow for days and my throat was sore for weeks. At one stage in my life, I did a few months in Durham Detention Centre. I was convicted of causing criminal damage. Well, I told the judge I wouldn't pay compensation, so off they sent me. Detention centres were rough, horrible places. The regime was just like an army boot camp with physical and mental pressure. Most people would pick prison over these places. The idea was along the lines of a quick, sharp shock. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. To be employed there, you had to be a pure bastard or you just weren't cut out for the job. When I turned up, the worst screw in the place marched me off to his office. He liked to push the new lads around when they first came in. He screamed at me, "Get a move on," and pushed me hard. I didn't move any faster, so he went apeshit. First, he banged me head against the wall, then the punches started. I just roared and rolled off his punches, so they had no effect on me whatsoever. People were shocked to see that he couldn't hurt me or frighten me. It was fuck all to me. I just kept answering, "Yes, sir, no, sir." The thing is, you couldn't fight back or things could be made really hard for you. At one point, they made us all line up. I can hear this growling in my ear and I'm thinking, what the fuck is that? I turn around and there's this massive lad growling at me. I nearly burst out laughing at the stupid twat. I look up at the lad and politely inform him, "Who the hell are you growling at, you stupid prick? Growl like that again and I'll rip your fucking head off, do you understand?" He nodded yes and stopped. You should have seen the look on the lad's face. I bet that was the first time anyone ever put him in his place. Within a few days and a few arguments, the word went round that I was the best fighter in the place and I got myself a cushy job in the stores. I sort of jumped the queue to get it, mind. I loved the training and when I came out I felt so fit and strong I was unbreakable and couldn't wait to get back to the boxing gym. While I was learning to box, there was this geezer there. He was a few years older than me. He was short, squat, powerful and covered in tattoos. He'd had a couple of fights and then packed it in. He thought he was a right Jack the lad, a tough guy, wise guy, etc. He'd had a 14-year stretch for armed robbery, so I didn't see him for a few years, just now and again when he got out. It was 1995, and a group of us were going from pub to pub, and he was one of us. The more drinks he was getting down his neck, the more he was getting on everyone's nerves. The guy was shouting about how hard he was, being a right pain. He shouts to me, "Oi you, outside!" Now I thought the prick was joking, but he wasn't. "I'm the best 14 stone you'll come across," he screamed. Off comes me cord and we step outside. The pub had a glass front so everyone could see us. Someone shouts out, "Go on, do him, Richie." He came straight at me and bang, I catch him with a short left hook with all my power behind it. He folded over like a 10-bob note. What an anticlimax. I bent over him and smashed him about 4 times with me right hand and he was on another planet. He was still sleeping when the ambulance took him 15 minutes later with the oxygen mask on. His jaw was broke in 4 places, so they had to put a steel plate in with screws to fix it. I had no sympathy for him. He had brought it on himself with his big loud mouth. I drifted in and out of boxing for a while and made a comeback as a heavyweight. Well, I thought 6 more times, winning 5. I had too many distractions and packed in the boxing. I started working the doors and I was fighting all the time. People know me not only as a fighter, but also as a tidy guy. I've always treated people with respect and have never stole a thing. I once got charged with theft, but like I said, I don't steal. I borrowed a friend's car to get some videos out. This was back in 1985. Well, for some reason, the films never got returned. The shop called the police and I was pulled in. The shop had just installed a video camera and of course, I was on it. To get it all and done with, I pleaded guilty. The judge remanded me for 10 days. I was gobsmacked, just my luck. Locked in Durham jail for 23 hours a day over some stupid videos. After the 10 days were up, I was taken back to court and there was a different judge who couldn't believe that I'd been remanded. I was also fined £300. The worst part was missing the birth of me daughter. She was 9 days old before I even knew she was born. I still don't know what happened to the videos. If I ever do find them, I may take them back to the shop. Could you imagine how much I now owe in fines?
Back in 92, 93, I was living with this girl and of course working the doors. There was this local geezer, a well-respected, right hard guy who fought for money. If you had any trouble with him, you knew you were going to be in a fight. He was a big, powerful man and nobody wanted trouble with him. Now the girl I was with was working in a different nightclub to me and he was coming in and trying to tap her up. After a few weeks she told me this and that he'd been saying, "What's Richie going to do to me? He can do nought with me." I was stewing with this for a while when I went to a bar I worked at one afternoon. Now I wasn't working that day and I knew he would come in. I just wanted to get the job done with him and get out. I knew he would have a crowd with him and the bar had loads of rough guys in as well. I told my mate that when he comes in, I'd wait till he goes to the bar, then offer him outside. My mate said, "Nah, just get stuck in soon as you see him." I'm thinking this over me mind when I see them all come in, all his mates, some hard guys and some who just think they are something. In he walks, last of all. I get up and walk straight over to him. He knew I was coming over for him, so as I throw a right hand, he tries to slip it, but I catch him with it. Down he goes, and I must have caught him a beaut because there's claret all over. I lean over him and I told him not to mess with my woman. He's all dazed as he's looking up at me, so I give him the left hook right on the side of the jaw. His eyes roll in his head and out he goes. I look up at his mates and none of them would look us in the face. I shout out, "Come on them, who wants it?" None of them wanted to know. I go out the back and I get told now they're all up screaming and shouting what they're going to do to me. Now this guy never had anything like this happen to him before. He may have been beat before, but nothing like this with the ambulance and all. Anyway, there are rumours flying around town. Shit things like I hit him from behind and that. He had this mate, a big 25-stone barrel of lard who thought he was a right handful. I'm in a nightclub and he's looking at me and he's telling people how I fought dirty with his mate. It's the end of the night and I've had enough of this. He's being disrespectful to me. I wait till it goes real quiet and I shout over, "Oi, fat prick." He turns round snarling at me. "You're getting on me tits," I shout straight at him. Everyone can hear this and he puts his drink down and comes straight for us. Soon as he comes near me, I hit him with 2 buttes. Down he goes on his knees. I give him some more and I know I've broke both my hands, but I grit my teeth and keep hitting him because I wanted to give him some. After all that, he's in hospital with 2 broken legs, broken jaw and he's stitched up like a road map. So I thought, well, that sent the feelers out to them daft twats. The big fat prick still told everyone that I had jumped him with friends and the reason he had broken legs was because I had done them with an iron bar. Pure lies. He never told people that he broke his knees when he landed on them on the tiled floor when I knocked him out. There was another big lad, a friend of his as well, who had a bit of a do with me. Now this time, I walked up to him at the bar and we started to fight. As he came back off the bar, he's swinging back and forth like the big heavy bag. I hit him with a left right. Down he went and he's carted off the hospital. Well, he's been training for a few months and one night he phones us up like, "Richie, it was a bit fast last time," he tells me. So we arranged to meet in a car park. I had just one lad to take me there, just in case of any foul play. It was bonfire night, and everyone was waiting for the news of the fight. Seems the word had gone around the town. I go over to him, and he's a big lad. He's got this white vest on, and he looks impressive. We shake hands, and he says, "Well, I've got to fight you now, Richie. It was a bit fast last time, and I want to get it out of the way." Now the pair of us square up, and I'm waiting for him to come towards us, but he didn't come. I didn't really throw anything, just a light feeler, and he comes down under it and grabs me round the waist, the sneaky fucker. He's trying to pull us down, but I'm too strong for him. I get him down on the floor, and I'm trying to smash his head down on the pavement, but his neck muscles are too strong for me to do it. "You dirty bastard," he screams at me. I get my hands free, and I hit him with a left-right. He shouts at me to stop, but I'm not satisfied yet, so I hit him a couple of times more, and he's all smashed up. I thought, I can't hit him anymore, or he'll be dead. So I get up and walk away. As I was walking, I hear him calling me, "Richie, Richie." I walk back, and I look at him, covered in blood. He can't even get up. "Richie, you can't leave us like this." So I thought, fair does, and I pick him up and lay him in the car, all bashed up. You know I'm a fair man, and I don't like to take liberties. Once a man's done, he's done, and that's it. If I got beat fair, I'd come back to fight again, and if I still got beat, I would have shaken his hand and admitted he was the better man. I was in street fights maybe 4-5 times a week. Seems people were coming from all over to have a go. I was getting so much trouble and getting locked up all the time. I never got charged, mind you. I guess it was because I had so many witnesses who came forward to say that I didn't start anything, which was always the case. I remember once it was New Year's Eve, and I'd been working since 12 in the day. This guy was trying to get into this young girl. A row broke out, and I ended up hitting him. It was about 4 in the morning, and I was very drunk. I went to the toilet, and I was sitting there when I can hear all hell breaking loose outside. This big lad outside is going right berserk. He was shouting that he wanted to fight me out in the garden. I didn't want to fight him because you don't do justice to yourself when you're drunk. Anyway, as soon as I get on the grass, bang, I'm down. I've been hit. My legs are like jelly, and I don't know what the fuck is happening. He got on top of me, and I couldn't even lift my hands up. He was punching and punching. I remember thinking, I wish I was sober. I really thought he was going to kill me. He just kept smashing away, and I could feel myself slipping away. I kept trying to stay awake, and after what seemed to be an eternity, he got up. Now the guy I was fighting had rings on. I was cut to bits, and I could see bits of flesh cut open on the end of my nose and all. I was in a right state. All around my eyes and all were cut open. Now, it must have been a good 6 months gone past. I hear he's going around thinking he's King Kong, so I have to get my revenge. When things like this happen, you start getting doubts in your mind, and that you start thinking, was it the drink, or was he the better man? When I was right and got myself sorted, I went to the club where he was drinking. Every day I'd been thinking of what had happened and what I was going to do. I didn't go in, but I looked through the window and the big twat in there, and he has his back to me. That's when the butterflies in the stomach start. I wait outside for him, and when he sees me across the road, he shouts, "So you want another good hiding, do you?" He's so very confident. He comes at me, throws a big right hand, but I block it and step in. I smash him twice and down he goes. I get on top of him and smash him to bits. I get back off him, and I thought I'd killed him. I'd brought me hands on him as well, and he was in bits. He was rushed to hospital, and it was touch and go for a while. A good while went past, and one night I was out celebrating my mate's birthday. I was just stepping out of the pub when bang, he hits me. Now I don't know what the hell has happened. Me head's spinning, and he hits me again. I fly back against the pub windows, and he gets me again. If it wasn't for the pub door, I would have been down. I steady up as one of my mates pushes him back. While this was happening, my head clears and I realise what's going on. My pal shouts, "Right then, let them fight." As I was walking towards him, my legs are still like jelly. Seems we found ourselves in the middle of the high street and everyone's out to watch it. All the cars stop because they can't get past. At first we both miss a few punches, then bang, I catch him with a big hook and down he goes. I can see his eyes rolling and his head bounced off the tarmac on the road. I drag him off the road to where it started by the pub. I got on top of him and let him have it again. When I was done with him and looked at him, it's like he was dying. The ambulance came and they got an oxygen mask straight on him. I could see the life draining out of him. He was on some sort of machine for a while in hospital. He wanted to press charges, but there were too many witnesses to say that he had started it all. Years and years later, I bumped into him at a party. I guess everyone thought it was going to kick off. I looked at him, and he looked at me, and we both smiled and shook hands. He told me that at the time, all his friends had been winding him up, saying that he was scared of me and that. A few years ago, I was drinking in this nightclub and happened to be talking with this woman. Nothing in it, just talking. I noticed over the other side of the room there's some guy waving his arms, threatening like and shouting something I couldn't hear because of the noise. There were two of them, a big one and a small one, doing all the mouthing. I'm thinking, is he talking to me? I look around and realise he is. We lock eyes and I point to myself and mouth, "Are you talking to me?" He nods yes and continues with the obscenities. I excused myself to the woman I was talking with, put my pint down and walked over. I stopped to ask a friend to watch me back. Thing is, people like this can't be talked to, so I wasn't going to mess around. I hit the smaller mousy one with a right, left, right, smack on his chin. Down the twat went, unconscious before he hit the floor. I turned to the big guy and off he shot like Linford Christie. I catch up with him and threw a Gunson right hand. It dropped him, but fear was keeping him awake. He scrambled under the tables to hide from me. As the doormen arrived, I was putting a boot into him and having much success. After about 10 minutes, an ambulance came for the other one. Seems the doormen couldn't revive the fucker. We were on the top floor of the club, so the bouncers had to carry him out. He looked a right mess. Turns out the smaller one had his jaw shattered. The big one said the punch that caught him was like being hit by a hammer. From what I gather, the smaller one had been going out with a woman I was talking to for a couple of years. The big one had a reputation for a fighter. The smaller one thought his mate would help him out of the shit. But of course, the shit hit the fan. Now, it's not as if I start the trouble. One Sunday night, I was drinking with this girl. I'd been working hard on the pub and club doors and could do with a night with no trouble. We got to the pub that I'd been working the door at. I got between these two guys so I could get served by the bar. One of them said, "Who the hell do you think you are pushing?" I bit me tongue as I'd promised myself a quiet night. "Do you want a fucking chew?" he screamed at me. I replied, "No." "Well, you better not if you know what's good for you," he screamed again. I got the drinks and went to the other side of the room. All the time this stupid prick kept going through my head. He kept looking over and talking to his pals. I thought, fuck the quiet night, it's out the window now. I weighed the situation up. There was 3 of them and just me. I went and stood by the door. You had to pass through it to leave. After what seemed like ages, the 3 decided to leave. I finished me drink and stood there blocking the door. The prickwall of God was thinking what the fuck was going on. "I've changed me mind, I do want to chew," I growled at the arsehole. I brought a big right into play and the wanker didn't know what had hit him. He was sleeping on the floor with blood coming from a deep gash. His 2 mates turned white and shit themselves. They didn't want it. There were women screaming like mental cases and the manager ran over and said, "I better leave before the ambulance and the police came." I slipped into the crowd and disappeared. Now, I thought it was over. Even though he had lied and told people I'd hit him with an ashtray, one day I had to go to this pub to sort some trouble out, and who was sitting there with all his mates but the arsehole with all the gob? It was like walking into an enemy's camp. The lad I wanted to see wasn't there. As I was leaving, the wanker shout out, "Oh, you!" I turn and he's standing there. "Who do you think you are coming here to sort you out in my pub?" I thought, I'm going to be killed. So I walk off and get a few friends to watch me back. I come back and the prick is now all by himself. All his mates knew I was coming back, so they up and left. Now he wouldn't come out in the car park with me because my mates were there, even just on our own. He starts raising his voice, so I thought, fuck this, and gave it to him. I smashed him so bad that I broke 3 of his ribs and he had internal bleeding. The barman told me that when they caught him off, he thought the geezer was dead. He never came back. I found he had put a $2,000 price on my head for anyone who could do me over. Well, that never happened, and no one ever collected the money. I never look for trouble, but sometimes on the door it came my way. This bloke came in one night. He had just had a bust up with his woman and was looking for trouble. He started to smash up all the glasses that were stacked waiting to be washed. He must have smashed about 60 glasses. I could hear all the smashing as I came from the toilet. The guy went to leave the pub, but had to get past me to go through the door. The whole pub were watching him. He was marching straight towards me with a right snarl on his face. I stood in the way to block him and he threw a punch at me. I slipped the punch and snapped out a straight right, mack on the button. He was on the deck groaning and covered in blood, and all the fight had gone out of him. Another doorman picked him up and took him to be cleaned up in the toilets. I looked down at my hand and there's this big gash and blood's pouring out. Seems I'd knocked his front teeth out and they'd stuck in my hand. I still have the scar today. A few weeks later, I got banged up for it. He didn't go to the police until a fortnight later. Somebody had put him wise to getting compensation. Anyway, the Crown Prosecution Service kicked it into touch. It's amazing how many arseholes there are like that guy out there. I started work at this wine bar, a proper place with about 10 doormen. My first night there, and they tell me about this bloke who comes every weekend. This guy won't say his drinks off and always makes them look stupid. You know the type, loud and loves an audience. Well, it was late and practically everyone had gone. It was a bit of a headache getting everyone out. It's always like that when they've had a few drinks. There were about 6 lads standing around some of the doormen. They were fucking around and acting up because they had this prick with them. The doorman had asked him to drink up, but he just waved and said bye-bye to them. I woke up and tell him to finish his drink or I'm taking it away. I don't like people taking the piss, so you have to be firm with them. The prick just sat there smirking at me. I reached over, grabbed his pint and poured it over his huge head. Before he could move, I smacked him with a straight right and flattened the prick. His mates shout out they don't want any trouble and off they go. Well, they take him to hospital and they find I broke his nose, not to mention his ego. Suffice to say, he never tried his little tricks again. He did consider pressing charges, but thought better of it. Now, if you'd done it to me, I would never get the police involved. That's the trouble with working the doors. You're always in a no-win situation. In 1996, I packed the door work in, and thank God for that. On one occasion, I was sure I was going to be killed. I have this good mate known as Maui, who I've known since we were kids. He's someone I can trust and think the world of. The both of us and another friend drive over to this big estate where we arranged to meet up with some guys that we had trouble with. The three of us get out of Maui's Land Rover and walk over to the guys. Before we can say anything, they pull out guns and start to fire at us. The three of us had the same idea, and that was to fuck off as fast as we could. As I'm running, I can hear bullets flying all around us. We get back in the Land Rover and pull away. With that, all the windows get shot through. There were people coming out of the houses to watch us get shot at. Maui's driving and I'm ducking my head down. We managed to get away, but then realised that my other mate's been shot through the shoulder. He's sitting in the back, clutching his shoulder, white as a ghost. It looks like he's going into shock. We get to the hospital and dump him off in casualty. We looked the right side driving up with all the windows shot in. Maui and myself were lucky to get away unscathed, but the three of us walked around with hair like Don King for the next few weeks. Maui's always getting involved in something or another. It's just the way he is. Life would be so boring without him around. Only the other day he nearly got himself killed again. He was living on some farmland and had a bag of gold jewellery that he had to hide in case the police came round. Well, the daft bastard hid them on the roof of the barn where they kept the pigs, thinking nobody's going to look up there. One night he climbs up to get them so he can sell them all. He loses his footing and comes straight down through the roof, landing on his back in all the pig shit. He must have fell 30 feet and was lucky that the shit broke his fall. He told me he was stunned for a while and just lay there in the pig shit with all the porkers around him. I told him he was lucky the farmer didn't turn up and take him off the market. On the other hand, nobody would buy him. Too bloody ugly. I've always loved Hartlepool and hope I never have to move. There are so many interesting people here and the town has some great history. The town itself used to be known as Little Chicago because of the amount of gangs that it once had. There was the Captain Cutlass gang, the Turquoise gang and loads more. Loads of tough foreign merchant seamen came to this town. They would spend the cash in a row of pubs called the Barbary Coast. I remember a story that a prostitute opened up Captain Cutlass's face with a bottle, leaving him scarred for life with a big Mars bar across his face. A man I would have loved to have known would have been the town's first bouncer. He was known as Battling Manners, a hard-as-nails mountain of a man. He worked here in the 30s. He was a pro heavyweight who didn't suffer fools gladly. He would literally bounce them out of the pubs. When I was fighting all the time, I got the nickname Crazy Horse because of my name being Horsley and my own interest in the American Indian. Well, I was a little embarrassed about it at first, but got used to it. Crazy Horse was probably the greatest warrior the Indian nation ever produced. I don't get called it now, but a short while ago somebody said to me, "Now then, Crazy Horse." I couldn't help but laugh, seeing as I hadn't been called it for years. I'm 37 this year, 2001, and I can't say it's been the greatest of years. My sister Jackie passed away just lately, she was only 38, so it's been an emotional time for us all. I have another sister, Debbie, who is 39 years old, and I have 4 kids. My oldest daughter, Jill Louise, has just had a beautiful baby daughter, so it looks like I'm now the best looking granddad in Hartlepool. Next in line is my daughter Donna. She's coming up to 16 and is in her last year of school. She wants to go into nursing. My boy Terry is 14 and music mad. It's music all the time with him. My youngest daughter Ashley is only 10 and a great gymnast. She's just been accepted at the School of Excellence. Her ambition is to be picked for our country and with our fingers crossed go to the Olympics one day. None of my kids live with me, but I'm a big part of their lives and I hope I'll always will be. When I think of it, I've been very lucky and only been down for 3 months when I was young. I've done a lot of damage to people in the past. I sometimes put it down to the rear hit. I always aim for a few inches just behind the target, so my fist goes through with the punch. One thing that did frighten me was one day, a clairvoyant got hold of my hands. "I can see you killing someone with these hands someday. You must pull your punches or someone will die," he told me. Now, at the time, I'd been very lucky with some fights, people hurting their heads and swallowing their tongues and that. I've moved away from the trouble and trying to enjoy life a bit more these days. I've knocked loads out, but never caused it. There's always been a good reason why I've done it. I help train the boys at the boxing gym now, and I'm happy doing that. It's a good crack helping the lads.